Much better, much better.
And growing up through the years, there's a lot of gaps in dogma. You start, I guess, with the Catholic Church and filter into other faiths. And, believe. How did this happen? How did I believe? I started reading and learning about like the excluded gospels and writings that were not accepted by the church, and found some peace there, but still, you really didn't have all the answers. And when I started reading tarot cards, it was part of a group, anywhere from 5 to 15 of us, I guess there is in the group at any time. And the main instructor, she's a medium channeler, and she did channeling for one day for me from Mother Mary, and said, you know what, you need to start reading and learning about the Christ consciousness.
Ron, why do you think she said it just to you, or why do you think you were chosen?
Channelings work that way. I mean, through I channel some for my readings, but there are many other people who will. When we were in Valparaiso about a month ago, we were reading there. I was walking in with my bags. The lady next door to me said, "Pardon, I know we haven't met yet. The spirit is yelling at me. I got a message for you."
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it happens like that. There's
Okay.
people like that in this class that something hit her and said, "No, there's a message you got to tell him," and she did. And so I said, "Okay, how do I do that?" So she sent me a link to a YouTube channel, and there was a gentleman narrating a lot of writings. I'll say a lot of them are spiritually based, but not all of them. And he just made it clear out of putting them on YouTube so you could hear audio versions of a lot of these writings. And she pointed me to that, and I started listening to it. And that also led me to a website that has those letters, so called posted. So a little background. There's this, the Christ consciousness has a general definition about being aligned with spirit in our earth right now. But uh, specifically, Christ channeled some letters and articles to a person, I believe it was a female, and based on her vocabulary, probably from South Africa, circa 2000 to probably around 2012. And there's a set of writings she did that were channeled from her. And they go into detail how she was prepared since a young age to experience all kind of highs and lows throughout her life, trying tragedies, and a kind of condition. And as it says in the letter, she was, for this reason, conditioned to do this. And so he would channel to her, and whatever he gave her instruction, she would start writing stuff down. And we have what we call the Christ letters today.
How many letters, Ron?
There's a total of 9 letters, and I think there's 11 or 12 articles. And the articles are kind of like Reader's Digest versions of the letters.
Okay.
So I think there's about 900 pages like that in there. It's a fairly lengthy document. But the articles, if you're interested, might be a good jumping off point. They do cover some different material in there, but they all have the same thing. And basically, it comes down to Christ in these letters has come back to let us know what the true message was that he tried to bring 2,000 years ago. And he said, the, getting the entire message out was a failure. However, it prompted so much change. The world is better today than it was then. We have schools, we have hospitals, we have benevolent societies, things like that. They didn't have back then. If you're an old widow or something like that, you could have heard. You read that in the Gospels. But getting back to the Bible, then, part of the letters he's also saying is there's an awful lot of blending from the way culture was 2,000 years ago to make it more acceptable to people. So they talk about sin, they talk about blood, they talk about sacrifice, which in letters he's saying is not what it says.
So it's like a updated version, you think, or of the original message?
Well, he's basically saying the Bible in its current form is done its job.
Okay.
You don't have to read it anymore. And when you start reading the letters there, he clarifies a lot of things. Really, at the start of it, he goes back to when he was in the desert. He also talks about when he was youth and things like that. But before the message is, how was I able to be sustained for 6 weeks in the desert?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Okay? And he explains how they couldn't understand back then, but we do today. We know the atomic theory. We know how particles are formed, proton and electron says in there is what makes all the come together. The electron the frequently says rejection and attraction. Okay?
Wait, say that again, Ron. Rejection and attraction.
Rejection or repulsion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like two magnets.
Gotcha, gotcha.
That magnetic theory is really literally is the core of everything. It starts with those couple electrons that holds them in that orbit where they're pulled together, but they won't, flying.
Ron, you saying that if I read these letters, it can help me get my teenager up in the morning, make his bed, go to school on time. I know I'm asking for a lot. I just, sometimes I get caught up in the daily struggles. It makes you just second guess, I guess.
Well, that's really a great question. And I've got to say, it depends. If you have issues with your teenager or somebody else, he definitely tells us how to deal with disagreements. It basically comes down to understanding. But he also says if you can't come to agree with somebody, walk away. So it's okay.
Does it talk about temper? Having a temper?
Oh yeah. And that kind of takes him to the end of the slide on here when he was in the garden and he cursed the fig tree and it died the next day. And then he went to the temple and got PO'd at the money lenders and he flipped the table over and started yelling and screaming. He said, everything we make our own world based on our thoughts and our own energies.
Yeah.
If we're positive, we're going to have a better life. If we're negative, we're going to create damage around us, basically.
Sometimes it's hard though to stay positive when I just paid mortgage, And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just devil's advocate here,
And he addresses that too. He says, it's a spiritual secret. He said it's impossible to not ebb and flow. You're going to go in, you're going to back out. You don't want to go so far out though that you have to relearn everything to get back to where you were. And that comes down to human ego. Okay? Ego is our best friend or worst enemy.
Yeah.
Ego protects us in our lives. It warns us it's fight or flight, protects us on a certain point. But there's times when it's back off. Suck it up. You don't have to strike back. If somebody wrongs you, walk away. And that's a message that's in the Bible and it still holds today. Conflict is in light of our spiritual development, conflict is never a good thing. It's part of our work today, and it's how we're evolving. But I'm going to throw another theory out. He also says in these letters, there's no such thing as sin. There's no such thing as sin.
Ron, I was raised in the church. I was made to read the Bible every day. And my mother would probably attack you if she heard you say that.
Yeah, I know. Again, really includes it says there, if you're happy with your faith, if you're happy with your dogma, regardless of what it is, regardless of which spiritual master that that reports to you, whether it's Christ, whether it's Buddha, whether it's Muhammad, whoever, they all came to earth with the same intention to try to bring the same message. And the Christ consciousness applies to all of them, regardless. Every major religion has at its core a message to work toward ascension. Okay? And as he says, they're a brotherhood. Now on the other side, they're not God. They're nearly perfect. God is perfect. They're nearly perfect. But they all came to earth at different times, different groups of people, to try to bring the same message of what we need to do to further our spiritual ascendance.
I feel like though sometimes, Ron, I wish I could read something or have something. Like I know like I'm here on earth for a purpose. Like I know like there's a reason why God had me here and I'm supposed to be working on something or doing something. I wish I had something that would get me to that,
The letters, you mean?
Yeah. Does that do that or?
Yeah. There's apparently took a few years for the reporter, as she's called throughout the narrative, to find a place to get them published. But with the dawning of the internet coming around 2000, she prepared his letters, and it took a few more years before they could find somebody who's willing to post them on a website.
Oh, okay.
There's one or two websites out there that actually have these things. They have discussion forums for them also. And it's a free download. the deal with this is it's free. Nobody's supposed to be making money off of this. And it's put out there for the better of the world. And it's something you can decide. Download and take a look at it. If something in there strikes you as blue, let go. I don't think that's going to happen.
Will it be like a series? Will they make more than 9 letters, or it's a girl that made them?
I believe that this is a complete series.
Okay.
Judging by the timeline that they give in the letters, either the reporter's probably passed by now, or she's very, very older. She's probably in her 90s by now. It's the kind of talk I lose things. So, she spent most of her life, being conditioned for this. And it was when the latter part of her life when she actually was able to do this. And God bless her soul, she did it on her purpose. They talk about that in there too, how there's one section in the letters that she came back to write one day and like a footer, and she talks. I'm not real familiar with her, but I know there's certain key commands you have to do stuff.
Right.
And it said there's a special command entered, and it said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." It was never there before. And they talked about they had a computer that can check everything, so they left it in. There's a message from Christ on the deliver. He had that come through on the letters. So that's just one example of him working with the reporter. And again, when you start reading these things, it fills in gaps. It's going to cause you to think a little bit, and you need to have an open mind.
Has it changed your life, Ron?
Pardon?
Has it changed your life?
Absolutely. Again, it makes me think when I act. It makes me think when I think. It makes me think when I do. And I'm hopefully trying to be a better person. Am I there yet? Not close. But I'm thinking about it. And again, the message is so positive. The message is so pure in there. I know in my heart it has to be right. There's no gotchas like based on my Catholic experience. Abortion is bad. Birth control is bad. Eating meat on Fridays is bad. Whatever. Those are all human inputs that we put in there. And there's a good reason for that. Fish were not considered animals. There were things. So
I didn't know that was not in the Bible. I was every Friday I was made to eat spaghetti and fish.
Okay. Yeah.
That wasn't the law. I know.
Something came along the way.
Gotcha.
Most of our Bible is put together by Paul, who came 85 years after Christ came. He never knew the guy, but most of what we're doing is based on him getting that sock when he was on the road that day and getting the revelation. But Paul did a lot of great things. He
Right.
to the non-Jewish people and got it out into the world. But to make it acceptable, he had to blend it with the Jewish traditions of the day. So you still have some punishment. Christ was not the Passover lamb as we call him today. He came with a whole new message, and he even says in the letters that, folks, the Passover thing, that's sickening me. Killing a lamb, spreading the blood around there. The benevolent God never asked you to do that. That's something somebody made up. He calls it pagan sacrifice. But I don't know nothing about paganism. That's what it's called in the letters. It's about love. It's about understanding. It's about being a good person. I'm not bringing a new religion. I'm not bringing any new rules. Okay? The tenets of the Ten Commandments are basically good. But they stop way over here, and we need to be way over here with it all. And that's what he kind of comes forth with it. It's really about love and understanding and development. And it's a struggle for us because our ego gets in the way. Our ego protects us, prevents us from you taking my glass over and I get mad at you. You know what I'm saying?
Especially when I'm at work. This is hard to put into effect when I'm at work.
Pardon?
I said it's hard to think about the letters and stuff when I'm at work because I feel like it's such a competitive environment. And of course I don't want to work, but I got to work. But when I go to work, I have to get my mind set because I'm constantly on attack mode, or I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's just hard to implement that. When I'm at home, I'm fine, I'm cool, I'm chill. I'm in my environment. I can find the peace, I can put stuff on in the background, but at work, like I'm triggered. I know, I can't, and it's really hard. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, that's the answer for that too. letters. I think it's a letter 7, perhaps. I forget right now. What are you doing for your world around you? Okay. What about the person? And the one example is, are you a key giver? Like, let's say somebody's in a hospital, and the person brings from the cafeteria food. Is it with love and passion, or is it just a way to make your life here and not here? You know,
Yeah.
how you attack your job. How you, if you kick that chair over and stop on it, break a hole in it, you're not being passionate with the chair. Now, it's an inanimate object, but it's the energy you're putting out. It's not necessary to do that. And he's saying, you know, if you treat your world, you treat your car, you make sure it's maintained, whatever, you know, it kind of sets the tone for your life and how you're going to treat other things and other people. So he talks about work too. You know, I have an engineering position for many, many years. Don't tell him, you know, to get out of the mode like that, being analytical, you come and sit down and give people readings.
It's opposite.
Yeah, it's rough. You don't do that. I mean, you can't wait for you to retire and not have to make that transition. But it can be done. And he says, you know, if you do it with loving consciousness, you'll be okay.
What would you say though to convince us that to look into Christ conscious letters? What?
Well, I guess number one, it helps to be seeking for something, as I was in my own personal experience. You know, I knew there were gaps in there. I knew there were things that just didn't make sense. There were answers that were filtered out
Yeah.
somewhere, somehow. And I found them there, especially in James.
Yeah.
He does fill in all the gaps of how the world, he talks about the Big Bang, and that's kind of his lead in for, you know, God and being in all things. He said, you know, do you think that this just happened? It's all happenstance? Do you think these couple of electrons got together to make the molecule, to make the cell, to make the DNA, that made something bigger and then injected consciousness to this thing? All just happened for chance into all the things we have in our world? You know, he's reaching out to science here too, and he's saying, come on back. You know, once upon a time, everything Church said was real, and they had, you know, you had to fight your way scientific. Well, you guys are good at scientific, but don't help the other side completely because you done went past it.
Right.
You know, most injuries and most illness can be healed with proper energy because we can have power in our bodies.
I believe that with cancer for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear it happening a lot too.
Yeah.
It's not every day, but it happens. And we have that power within us to be able to heal ourselves. Just like he was able to multiply fish and loaves, just like he was able to transcend. He didn't ever walk on water like this. He was to transcend himself and kind of went fifth dimension. He was able to go across the lake and be seen by his people going across that water because he was a spiritual entity at that time. It was kind of had a ghost is the wrong word, but it's, you know what I'm saying, kind of almost like a ghost when he did that. When he doesn't talk about like some of the other miracles, so that's really kind of minor stuff. But his point was, you know, he was born as a man, he died. Back then, and most times, life could not exist without a body. Right? To say that one of the parables he talks about, he had people, what's more important, the mind or the heart, or mind or the body? You know, the body. Well, so I think it's the mind. It's true. The consciousness that is our individual soul, and the God consciousness that's within all of us in everything in being moves from body to body, lifetime to lifetime as we come back to our lessons. There's another set of books that channel that I'm reading right now called The Way of Mastery. And they have one entire book in there that's devoted about forgiving people. And he's saying that, you know, as long as you believe in reincarnation, and it's true, that if you can learn to forgive everybody in your life, you're going to knock out thousands of reincarnations if you can master that.
Wow.
Easy to say, maybe hard to do. But that's a huge stumbling block for most of us, is not being pissed off at somebody and, you know, being able to forgive. Even somebody who hurts you, or somebody who harms you. It goes everything we, you know, practice today.
Right.
If you look back at the example that did come through in the Bible, or through his life, that's the way he was. That's what he's saying. That's the way you need to be.
Awesome. All right, Ron, will you tell us how we could find you, how we can locate stuff? Are you on social media?
Yeah, Terror Talk is out there on Instagram, Threads, some of my business cards here. I got a website, and I downloaded the letters, can't selfishly, a Google page, and you can get them directly from my website if you want to do that, or you can go search for them online.
Oh,
There's a couple
if I go to your website, it's a link to the.
Yes.
Okay, sweet,
Yes, I
sweet,
have
sweet.
a page dedicated to Christ consciousness. It has a little talk about it, intro, and it also has a reading behind it. Again, free download, doesn't cost you anything. You know, to me, it's a great gift when I found this stuff. It really made me complete.
Awesome.
My name is Sam Tulloch.
Ah, okay.
Shortened it up. Rhymes with terror, kind of. So,
I know. I thought it was something cool too, right?
my last name was made up. My grandfather came over back in 18 whatever. He had changed his name a few times because he was kind of a ruffian. He got bounced from job to job, so he changed his name to get reappointed. We played with the records back then. So I don't even know what. I think it was something different in the old country. But yeah. So yeah, I shortened up this one. So
I like it. I like it. But thank you, Ron, for sharing Christ Letters. It's been life changing.
it really has made a difference in my life. Again, am I close to a sanction?
No.
I think about it every day, and I'm trying to improve.
Has it?
When I'm in these situations where you're challenged, I think about it, and I think that's the first. Part of the fault. You have to have something in mind if you're going to change. Well, I'm willing to. So how do I work in this? How do I try that?
Has it changed the way you do readings? I know you do tarot readings. Does it help with that or hinder?
It has helped quite a bit with that because a lot of times when somebody's troubled and when they're having trouble dealing with something, I take the reading and then often, refer to the Christ letters about how, there'd be a reference for them to deal with some issues that they have. Don't believe me. Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
It says it here. I'm asking you to believe the letters. The only reason I'm asking that is because I don't think anybody can read that and say this is. There's nothing in there that's contrary. There's nothing in there that's controversial. As long as you can have love in your heart.
Got it. Any questions?
How long have the letters been around for? About?
I think they finally got put on the web 2012 to 2015, somewhere in there. Yeah, so within 10 years.
Yeah, right.
This is my first time.
I saw it, but until you told me about it, I didn't know what they were. But I saw the words Christ consciousness before.
Well, if you just go with Christ consciousness too.
Yeah, a lot of stuff came up.
How do I get there? Because it talks about connecting with the divine, to where we are here. But it kind of leaves you like that. It doesn't tell you where to go.
Okay,
The letters wraps it all up.
gotcha.
So what's the connection with these letters and tarot cards?
Well, so for me, it just helps provide answers to people, and the tarot is providing guidance when you do a reading for somebody. So
I mean, you go to tarot card school. I mean, obviously you got to gain some plot knowledge,
did.
right?
He did.
there's a couple of courses that are out there.
Okay.
One was directly from Hay House, the other one was by Hay House author, who's have you ever heard of Doreen Virtue?
Yeah.
She kind of did an about face. This is all bad. She went back to fundamental Christianism, and everybody in the community kind of said, "Oh, you're," So Bradley was her associate, I guess. Not only involved in doing this right now, and Bradley was kept coach going. So he's kind of like the number one tarot card maker, speaker. He's pretty well known. He's very, very gifted. And he has his own certification course. So I took both his and the one from Hay House. The Hay House one has all their offers in here. Bradley was
Yeah.
just Bradley.
Yeah.
I just not based on that.
Do you think you were called to do tarot? Like you got that channeling?
I must have been.
Okay. Was it like a big anomaly or just came to you?
Well, I was working in Texas for about 3.5 years, visiting home every 3 to 4 weeks. Kind of a little bit of my background. When I was quite young, my mom went into a severe depression when I was 12 years old, and she kind of went to bed and never got out of it. My dad was, we're talking about people born in the average 1913, my mom was 19, and back then, it was, well, what my dad said was, hey, we got to do something. No, my friends said we need to do it. So that's how mom was left alone. Long before that, we're still doing bodies of people. I'm still here. So mom was there, and I was kind of like, I had older brothers and sisters. One of my closest brothers was 9 years old. As soon as he graduated from high school, in Highfield, California, they were back. So I kind of grew up as an only child, also with really no parent there. Luckily, there's a dairy farm on the street, and I kind of migrated up there, and I consider the farm that was there not although they did very well. But anyway, get back to the point. I was kind of scared because part of the reason why I went into depression, she was following the occult and UFOs. She was kind of on the fringe of realizing this stuff's all real. Where she was at was kind of the woo-woo, seriously. And whatever tripped on her, I think she had depression, she went to bed. So I knew I was intuitive from a young age. There were several things that happened that I was able to pick out, but I wasn't total.
Right.
And that continued through my life. I knew it was there, but I really didn't pay any attention to it. So when I was in Texas and had these other questions about my faith, and I was reading other, like I said, the Lost Gospels and things like that to try to find the answers that I was trying to find. When it looked like I was going to maybe have an opportunity to get back home and get a job, I was kind of interested. I had been following some psychics along the way who helped guide me through my career path. And I got online right about the time COVID started with a group that was up here, and they were doing online practice sessions for whatever your player is, 50 psychic, whatever. And I joined that group, and they were very accepting of me. And we'd go around and they would practice, okay, you read, kind of me. Week after week, I got nothing. But they didn't kick me out. They left me in there. It was all good.
It's like an AA meeting.
So when I came back home, there was one gal who was part of this online group who said, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing a little different. And I kind of went with her. Her name was Tiffany Murphy. She's a fantastic friend of mine. Very, very gifted at medium and psychic, and I love her to death. She started her own group, and it was through the channeling that she said, hey, there's a lot of we start a class and we do a meditation, and then there might be an entity, like it could be Christ, it could be Auction, it could be Ganesha, it could be Mother Mary, the list goes on. I've got a channeling for you from Mother Mary, and she said you need to study Christ consciousness, and that's I started on before. Okay, what do I do? But she pointed me to the letters, which kind of explains how we apply consciousness in our life. You can find the definition anywhere about that, and they're all pretty much straight. It's basically in line with the creator source. How to get there. The letters are that.
Awesome. Thank you, Ron. I feel like I'm walking away with more than what I came with.
Hopefully, yeah. And like I said, questions. I really encourage you to read it. And walk away from it. I don't think you will.
Awesome.
If you're open, I think you can find something there.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, those are yours. Those are yours. Yeah. Sorry you came at the end. It was a really good conversation.